The Floor Academy podcast is sponsored by Trelama, the trade labor marketplace, where businesses can find skilled trade labor, such as flooring installers, and where flooring installers and other skilled tradespeople can find permanent or project work. You can set up your profile at trelama.com, TRALAMA.com, or download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And remember, Trelama is always free for skilled tradespeople. In-floor heating has never been easier. The new 2020 NWFA guidelines provide electric in-floor heating options that do not require the system to be embedded in cement. The Warm Step system allows for safe installation for glue-down, floating, and nailed-down installation directly over an in-floor heating system. What does that mean for the wood flooring dealer or installer? It means you can now offer your customers a simpler, faster, more cost-effective option for safely installing electric in-floor radiant heat systems with a wood floor. Thermosoft's Warm Step is tested and approved by many flooring adhesive and fastener manufacturers. Visit warmstep.com now to learn how you can heat up your business with the best in-floor heating system for wood floors. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Phoenix, Arizona. We're here talking with flooring professionals from all across the country about the issues that matter to you. I want to encourage you to learn while you earn. This week's guest is Reuben Potter. Reuben owns Floors by Southern Boys and has been an installer for 23 years. With only a 6th grade education, he has created not only a successful installation business, but also a YouTube channel and an online store. Listen in to find out why a formal education isn't everything it's cracked up to be and how you can still be successful in life. Reuben Potter, are you on the line?
Yes, sir, I am.
Excellent. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I've got to introduce you a different way because I don't know that many people know Reuben Potter, but they do know Floors by Southern Boys.
Pleasure to be here, Kyle.
Oh, all mine, all mine. This is excellent. I've thought about this one for a minute. So let's have you introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? How'd you get started? And where are you going?
Well, like you said, my name is Reuben Potter, and I started this a long time ago as a helper, just like everybody else did. The guy that lived right next door to my parents when I was a little kid actually had a boat shop that he also installed. So my parents took me out of school at an early age because I was a little troublemaker. Believe it or not, I was a troublemaker when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So they took me to school and was going to homeschool me. And the first 6 weeks of 7th grade, I was out and started as a helper, helping the guy that had the shop there next door, and pretty much worked for him for the same store that I'm actually working with right now. I helped that gentleman from 14 till 19, and then he got all messed up and stuff. So the carpet store scene that I was working for him for so long and stuff like that, and they actually gave me a hand to help me get started in this business. So,
okay.
Since I was 19, I'm 42 now, and here I am, still chugging along, doing what I can do.
Boy.
And
okay.
Pretty much do everything. I don't do ceramic tile or stone. I do carpet, vinyl, hardwood, laminate, everything else but ceramic tile. So, and a lot of people don't much care for carpet because it's so hard and it don't pay very much, but that's probably the most satisfying thing there is out there for me to install, even though it is hard and stuff, but I really enjoy installing carpet.
Okay. What else you got going on? You got a couple other ventures going on that you've developed in the past few years.
Yeah. Here I moved out west when I was, I guess back in 2010, I moved to Tucson, Arizona. And 3 years ago, I think it's been about 3 years, I started a YouTube channel. I seen there wasn't a whole lot on the YouTube about flooring and stuff like that. So I started a YouTube channel just sharing what little bit of knowledge that I got with the younger guys and stuff like that. I thought it would help out. And it's actually actually done pretty good. It took off pretty good and stuff like that. I've got a lot of positive feedback, and it seems to help a lot of people. So it just kept me going and kept me going and kept me going, and
Mm-hmm.
feels good. Feels good to help people out is the main thing. Helping out the younger generation, even helping out older guys. I don't, by no means do I claim to be the best, but you can learn from anybody as long as you got an open mind and are willing to learn. You can learn from anybody. So
That's the key. And you got one other thing. What else you got going on, man? You just started it. I feel like from what I see, you're doing pretty well with it.
well, I got a little bit of a reputation since the YouTube channel, so people, for whatever reason, they like me. So I started a store. I'm sorry for all the stuttering and stuff there. I started an online store selling tools and flooring supplies and stuff like that, and it's taken off. It's taken off a little bit by little bit. It's doing pretty good, actually. I guess for what little time it's been going, it's going pretty good. And I got, YouTube, and with that, I started out first of all, as far as income from YouTube, I started out becoming affiliate marketing with Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And started seeing a little bit of revenue coming from that. And it just put a light bulb off in my head to start selling stuff myself instead of just getting a small percentage of what I was selling for Amazon. So that's what I started doing.
I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say it again. It's doing okay.
Okay. Look, you got to start somewhere, right? Even
Right.
the Ray Kroc with McDonald's, man. He started with one, and where's McDonald's at now? Look at that. So
Right.
All right. Well, here's the deal, man. You said my parents pulled me out of school because I'm a troublemaker.
Right.
And you barely made it in a couple weeks of 7th grade before you're out installing carpet with the neighbor.
Right.
So essentially you have the equivalent of a 6th grade education, at least, like, more than that. I understand that, but you went to school through 6th grade.
Correct. Yep.
You're doing some high level stuff. So you're running a YouTube channel, you're using technology, you're having light bulbs go off, you're starting a store, you're setting up deals with the companies to be able to be a distributor for them. Like there's things going on that don't equate to 6th grade education. So let's go way back, because obviously it's been from, like you said, you started kind of at 14 with the carpet thing.
Right.
So where have you felt that only getting a 6th grade education has held you back?
I don't think it's held me back anywhere at all. I don't have, I can't, there's, just like you see me right now, a little bit of not so good with my words. I just kind of talk, and what comes out kind of comes out, but I always get my point across. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much it. Probably just a lack of intelligent words is probably about the only thing that I've missed. I think life is the greatest teacher that a person can get. And I definitely agree that a trade is way more important than a college degree. So, okay. As far as it hold me back, I really don't see it, except for the lack of intelligent words, probably. I'm sorry. I by no means promote ignorance or anything like that. Mm-hmm. A person should go through school and stuff like that. But for instance, you're a bad kid in school and you drop out or whatever. You don't have to live a low life. You can still go out and do stuff with your life. Okay. Mm-hmm. So.
No, I couldn't agree more. There's nothing wrong with being a tradesman, whether the media wants to spin it that way or not. I feel like starting in the late 70s, early 80s, that's when I was born, and coming up through school in the early 90s, like all you ever heard was get a degree, get a degree, get a degree. Yeah. Well,
right.
Look, I have a degree. I'll pay it off one day, but it's not doing anything for me anymore. And in fact, even when I was in the television field, it still didn't do anything for me. It didn't mean anything. Nobody cared.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with learning a trade. You can be plenty successful, and you can learn plenty of things, as you stated. So if you don't feel it held you back, what advantages has it given you?
Well, that has been a complete flip around because, on the other hand, there's been a tremendous amount of advantages where you asked the question, did it hold me back? And I was like, no, but it definitely has been an advantage because if I had went on through high school, what do you graduate at 17 years old or something like that?
17, 18, depending on when your birthday is. Yeah.
17 years old. So I already had 5 years of experience in the trade by the time most people were getting out of high school, and I was already running my own business a year later. So that helped me out tremendously. And it give me, when people are young, that's when their brains are soft and they're able to pick up. That's why they send you to school when you're young, not when you're 40, I guess. Anyway, when you start something out at an early age like that, it sinks in, and especially if you have a love for it, you find something that you like. You tend to want to stick with it, and you tend to want to find out better ways, the best ways, put everything you got into it. All that stuff happens when you're young. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for somebody to start something when they're 35 or 40, unless they're a late bloomer and be like, oh, yes, this is what I'm supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And then start giving it their all. Start out when you're young. Find out what you're supposed to do in life when you're young. That way you got your whole life to run that instead of just half of your life or the older part of your life. So it's been a tremendous blessing finding out what I'm supposed to do at such a young age.
No, I love it. I think it's really important that if you can find something you love to do young, that, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you can find something to do that you love when you're young, it's going to make life so much easier. But at the same time, like Walt Disney didn't get going until, he failed multiple times. He was 40s, 50s by the time he finally got Walt Disney World going. Colonel Sanders, the KFC guy, I don't know his actual name. He was in his like 50s or 60s or something like that when he got KFC up and running. So it's not to say that you can't do it later in life, but I agree that you will have so much more potential and places to go and take it if you can figure that out when you're young. So I like that positive outlook and that spin on it. You're running a business at 19 years old. Mm-hmm. And you have a 6th grade education, which means you're probably lacking a lot of, basic math, but you don't know higher level math.
Right.
You've never been really taught probably any like business principles. So how did that play out? You from 19 until you said you were 42, right?
Right.
So from 19 until now, you've got to have some business sense by now. Because you're running a YouTube channel and you've got an online store. Like there's a lot of stuff going on at this point. So how has that kind of played out through the years?
Well, like I said a while ago, life is the best teacher that a person's going to get. So it just don't all come. And I still don't consider myself a great businessman or nothing like that. Whenever I do something, it's like whenever you see me might do something new in my videos that I ordinarily don't do, excuse me, it's because I just learned it, okay? I don't have a lot of computer skills. I'm really slow at reading. So everything that I do online, it takes me probably 4 times longer to figure out than it does somebody else that knows the computer really well and all that stuff like that. So there you go. I didn't even think about that a while ago when you said hold me back about not getting in school because my reading skills are really slow. It takes me a long time to read stuff. Mm-hmm. So if I could read faster, I could catch on to stuff faster and stuff like that. But as far as business, there is a lot to it. But when it all boils down to, if you have good morals, that's your best. You can run a business. You know what I'm saying? You just do what's right. Surely everybody's got this little internal thing inside of their body letting them know what's right and wrong. Mm-hmm. It's called a so. Sometimes whenever you do the right thing, you'll get screwed over, but that's part of business. You just dust yourself off and get on with it. Even if you go to this law school or business school and get degrees and all that stuff like that, you're still going to get done wrong every now and again. But you just learn from those mistakes and you get on with it. You don't let that stuff hold you down.
Well, okay. Yeah, I agree. Like you've got to have a moral compass and you need to be... I'm okay being fair with people. I'm okay doing handshake deals. I get that. But did you struggle to know if you're being profitable or charging enough and like running all that high level business stuff? That's what I'm talking about, knowing your numbers and knowing how to calculate, I need to set this much aside for taxes and I need to be able to save this much so I can buy new tools. And like, did
Yeah,
you
that
struggle along the way trying to figure all of that out? And did you have to go to people and say like, look, you're just not paying me enough? Even if you didn't know why, like if they were only paying you 90 cents a yard or something to install carpet, did it finally click that you just had to go to them and be like, look, man, you got to pay me $1.50. Like I can't, there's just no way I can live and support myself by doing it for 90 cents a yard.
Yeah, I've only had an issue like that one time in my life, and that was as soon as I moved out to Tucson. And it didn't take a Albert Einstein to figure out that I was getting reamed out by the prices. The guy just was not fair at all, and that's why I didn't stay with him. I don't know it. You just kind of feel what everybody else is getting, and then you just kind of fall in there, I guess. If you're getting lower than them or other stores and stuff around you, that's how I've always kind of based it. What am I getting paid and what's everybody else getting paid?
Mm-hmm.
I've never really wanted to go above and beyond everybody else up until here in my later life just because. I'll leave it at that.
Well, no, let's get in. Okay, so why do you want to do better now?
Well, there's a lot of people out there that just do, they'll walk in there and do the stuff as fast as they can and get out. And a person that takes 3 times as long to do a job because they're doing all the little nitty gritty detail stuff that makes the job professional gets paid the same amount. I just think that's wrong. A person that's spending 3 times the time to make sure the stuff is right at least ought to get twice as much money.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, that's a great topic because it's how do you justify paying one installer more than the other when there's like no qualifications involved? Does it get into how many callbacks they get? Does it get into, can you prove that one guy's kicking it in all the time versus you power stretching it? There's a lot going on there. And so I think it's easier for the stores to just say everybody gets X rates.
Yeah.
Versus changing it and being guy per guy, because everyone's going to talk in the back of the shop, right? You're going to be there picking up carpet and you're going to talk about what you're getting and they're getting. And
yeah, I absolutely agree with that. But any store owner, now I've always worked for stores. Okay. I know a lot of guys are independent and stuff like that. I've always worked for stores, and any store that is, that cares about their work is going to go out to the jobs every now and again and just see how people's doing on their jobs. Okay. So they could come out there and see somebody doing this or that or that. That's like really like, whoa, I can't believe you're putting all that into this job. Or they can go out and see another crew that's saying, wow, you're already this far ahead, and maybe see dirt and stuff all over the floor that they're covering up with pad, electrician wires and stuff like that they're just covering up and not even sweeping.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, okay, wow, this guy over here is doing a whole lot more work than this guy over here. He should be getting more. That seems fair to me. So any store owner that cares about the work is going to go out and see what kind of work has been done on their jobs. So they should have some kind of sense that way of who's done better work and who's not, along with lack of callbacks and stuff like that. That speaks high numbers too.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is a new idea to you, right? Like you haven't gone and like pushed buttons and tried to or you haven't tried to get higher pay in the past by
not
doing
yet.
These things. Okay.
Not yet, but it's soon to happen.
Okay. I like it. Good for you. Cause I think there's nothing, look, you don't get what you don't ask for, right? Like there's nothing wrong with asking the question. The worst thing you're going to get is no.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter. I mean, look, hey, you got Treva, right? Like, you had to ask her out at some point. What was the worst thing she was going to tell you? No. Look at you guys all happily married years later.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest lesson that somebody can really take away is why would you walk into a store and say, hey, I'm interested in working for you. What do you pay? Why are you doing that? Why aren't you walking in and saying, hey, I want to work for you. Here's my rates.
Yeah, that is really good. Unfortunately, everybody knows that stores don't work like that. So
No, no,
everybody
no.
walks carpet stores.
But
Go
why?
ahead.
Why?
It's,
Don't tell me they don't work like that. Why not? Go. Why would you let them dictate your terms? Right? You're doing the work.
yeah, it's just the way it's always been, and it's time for change. I understand it's not right, and it shouldn't be that way, but that's just the way it is.
But it's not. It's that way because no one has the balls to go and do it, right?
Right? Yeah, I hear you.
What do you lose by going in and telling them these are my rates?
Yeah,
That's what I don't get, right? Like
yeah.
why does the industry, why do the retailers dictate what we make?
Well, if people's out looking for a job, uh, unfortunately, they're jobless. So most time, people just need to find some work. You know, I done that in Tucson. I went out there and I got the first place I could take, and I was getting reamed every single week on my paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I didn't stop with him. I kept looking every. It took me 2 years to find some other work, but I didn't settle for that guy. I kept looking and I kept looking and I kept looking, and I got hooked up with a really good store that pretty much let me set my own prices. They didn't take any, you know, they sold the carpet and that was it. I got paid from the customer and all that stuff. And with that being said, I could pretty much set my own prices, tell them what this is worth and that's worth and stuff like that. So all carpet stores are not like that. There's a whole lot of good stores out there if a person finds them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the way a lot of stores should be, just like that. They should sell their carpet and then just refer installers and let the installers get paid directly from the customer. And that's going to take a lot off of the carpet store. That's going to a lot of repairs and callbacks and stuff like that. It completely erases that from the carpet store, because all of that then is going to be on the installers, not going to be on the store. So to me, that's a win-win for the installer and for the carpet store.
Yeah, but then the carpet store misses out on being able to make all that extra profit off selling the job, right?
Yeah, I hear you. That just ain't right either.
Well, oh, what a slippery slope we are on, my friend.
It's business. It's all business.
Correct. But I want everybody to feel good, right? Like that's the
Absolutely.
point. That's what we're after. You and I both, I think, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I want installers to feel like they're making a good wage, and I want the retailers to feel like they're getting a good end product. And so how do we get there? But how do we... You're such an interesting case because you've been doing this for so long, and I think even you're getting a mentality change, and that's really what I liked was, you know, we were talking back and forth, and you know, that's what intrigued me about doing an interview with you, is you were like, I only got a 6th grade education, I'm not great at typing and spelling and all that kind of. I was like, that none of that matters. Like, what you can produce with your hands is impressive. But at the same time, you're like, you know, I just want a handshake, and I want to treat you fair. And well, what's fair? Okay, so today there was a post by Ken Ballin about charging $1,500 for a 20 square foot backsplash, and people were freaking out about it and giving him a hard time. And there was literally a comment of, "I can't believe you ripped somebody off like that." His response was, "There's other options in my area. They know they exist. They chose to go with me." He didn't rip them off. He presented them with an option, right?
There you go. They didn't. Yeah, you don't rip them off unless they have no choice. If they agree to it, you know, I understand that you can pull a wool over somebody's eyes and stuff like that, but I don't know. That's a tough one right there. Not that case, but fair's in the eye of the beholders.
Correct.
It's not going to be fair for somebody else. So,
but I think even you, right? Like, you're starting to see that, hey, what I do is different than everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody with a moral compass can see that. That's not fair.
Correct.
I mean, if you're doing 3 times the work as this guy, you shouldn't make the same money as that guy. Mm-hmm. That's just, I don't know how else to say it, but that's just not fair.
Correct. But, well, okay. Look, I've taught my son since he was 2 and could repeat the words back to me. Life's not fair.
Yeah.
Okay, that's life in a nutshell, right? It's not fair. It's not going to be even. Some people get better advantages than others. We know this, okay? Look at what's going on in the world around us right now.
Hmm.
And that's all you see is some people are held back and some people don't have as good of opportunities in life, blah 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 blah. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you apply yourself, you can make change.
Correct.
So where do we get people applying themselves? What do we need to do to get Reuben out there saying this is unacceptable? I want more.
You don't have to do anything to get Reuben out there saying that.
Not now. Not
yeah. I understand. Well,
I mean, what was the change for you? What clicked in your head that you were like, whoa, hold on, this isn't right? You know, what was the change that inspired you to want to push the boundaries and kind of go for more?
Well, it's hard to talk about stuff like that without feeling like you're boasting yourself up. But if you do the quality of work that stands out from everybody else's, you should be getting more. That's what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started seeing what everybody else is doing for work, going out and seeing other people's jobs, like I said, doing little repairs for this guy and finishing up over here a few for him, it really just sunk in since I moved here in Tennessee, because it wasn't like that in Tucson. The store I was with for 8 years in Tucson actually they had all top of the line installers. Everybody had been there for years and years, which is the same here. But even the carpet stores around here have just got used to such low standard of installation. They don't really see anything wrong with it at all. I've went out to jobs here and just pulled carpet up and it not even popped from the tack strip, where it has absolutely no stretch on it whatsoever. And it's completely acceptable. And I think that's why a good quality job don't necessarily stand out like it should. I don't know.
Nah, you know, I'm totally with you. Okay. So you were down here in Arizona and I'm sure this is the way tract homes are built most places these days, but you go in there's lippage on the tile, the carpet's kicked in and cut real quick so that it know it's buckling in places a year down the road. All the casing is installed and baseboards are installed when the trim carpenter can come in, and then the flooring goes in, so tile is grouted up to baseboards instead of baseboards on top of tile. It's all very sub quality work, and yet homeowners accept it. It's normal now that there's lippage in tile. It's normal that your carpet buckles, and you just say, oh, well, I'll pay somebody to restretch it, big deal. Consumers have been led to believe these things are normal when they're not. And therein lies the problem.
Yep, you're exactly right. You are exactly right.
So where do we need to take the industry so we can level it up and we get everybody on an equal playing field doing installations correctly? And look, we're never going to get rid of all the hacks. Okay. That's fine. I need them so I can look good. Don't get me wrong. You need them so you can look good. You got to have a way to differentiate yourself.
Exactly.
But if you can still get more guys playing at the upper level, it's going to be better overall.
Yeah. A person has to have a drive and a passion for something to do it to the best of their ability. There's not a human being alive that's going to go out there and give something their all if they don't care about it. So if a person don't care about the trade, if they're doing it for a paycheck, they're never going to do the quality of work that should be done. They're going to go out there and get in and out as fast as they can and get on with their money. So if a person could, I've stressed that numerous amount of times in my videos, find out what you need to do. Find yourself. What what's your passion? If this is not your passion, then get out of it and find something else. Don't live your whole life doing something that you're not happy with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. There's good money to be made in flooring, and a lot of people see that, but yet a lot of people don't love it. And that's where all the hacks are, right there. You gotta love.
I don't know that hacks are making good money though. Just because
Well,
you're busy doesn't mean you're making money, right? Like, I can go on Craigslist right now. I'll find a guy to remove my tile for 90 cents a square foot. I can find a guy to install my laminate flooring for 99 cents a square foot.
well, they're all over this town making the same amount of money I am.
Exactly. But how, like, those guys aren't making money.
There's a lot of,
They're just paying bills.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of them out there. They produce a lot more work than I do because they can get in and out a lot faster because they're doing half of the effort in the job. So a lot of those guys make more money than I do.
Yeah, I get if you're producing volume, there's potential to do okay. But how long does that last before it catches up with you? How many floors fail? How many calls do you ignore before it gets out that Johnny Two Bags is a dirtbag installer and you shouldn't hire him?
Well, I'm currently working for one of the best store owners I've ever met in my life. This guy will stand behind his installers no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Take
the fall in front of the customers every single time and lift his installers up, and you just don't see that. So that's where you're coming from here. Now, everywhere else, people do what they got to do to get by. If they feel that a carpet store is not going to put up with it, they're going to do better. If they're going to do the bare minimum, what the carpet store will put up with. It don't take long working for somebody to figure out what they are and what they are not going to put up with. So people's going to do the bare minimum, what they can do to get by. That's just human nature, unless you love it. If you love it, it don't matter if you're making $120 on a minimum bedroom. You're gonna whatever you got to do all day long. If that's what it takes to make that job perfect, it don't matter if it's $100 or $500. So that's the difference in love and a paycheck.
I like it. I've asked this question. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, that's what kept me. I was making $2 a yard out in Tucson working for that first store I worked for out there.
Oh man,
and it didn't set me back a bit. It was hard, I would be aggravated quite often, but it didn't keep me from doing the best that I could do. That's because I love what I do. And it's not the customer's fault that this guy is giving me $2 a yard. So it's not right for me to take it out on that customer and do a pathetic job because this store owner is paying me $2 a yard.
That's such a big place to come from.
A moral compass. That I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, no, you're right. Look, it's some people are religious, some people are not. The good book says that you should work unto the Lord. You should do your work as if you're doing it for Him. So I know a little bit about you. I think you take that seriously. You get it done every day, man. But how can you? I've asked this question a couple times, and I don't know that I've asked it on the podcast, but I've asked it in the Floor Academy Facebook group. Can you instill that passion into somebody, or do they naturally have to have it?
I don't think it can be instilled in anyone. That's like no, I don't think so at all. If a person don't have it, they don't have it. Okay. You can, this is coming from somebody that's been in it. I've had a lot of people working for me over the years. Okay. Like I said, from 19 to 42, I've worked for myself and I've had a ton of people working for me. You can get somebody that is really good at it. I had a guy stretching in and could do a whole house, and he had only been with me for 6 months. But he didn't love it. He quit and he went on to do something that was easier. I've had people work for me for 15 years that could do absolutely phenomenal work. And they stayed with me for a long time, but they didn't love it. So you have to love it. It don't matter how much money you give someone. It don't matter how many times you pat them on the back and tell them a good job or anything. If they don't love it, they're not going to love it. It has to be something in them. They have to have that sense of look what I done. That feels so good. It don't matter how much money I make. Just look at that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't do that, I don't know. They're not going to make it. I mean, they might do it for a long time or whatever like that, but they're not going to be happy. So no, I don't think that you can instill it into anyone else. Now, on the other hand, um, with your guys working for you, your apprentices and stuff like that, I get this question all the time. How do you go about getting someone and keeping them? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I got a guy with me right now. He's my nephew. He's 17 years old, and he's been with me on and off for about a year. He's been pretty steady now for about 6 months. Um, I don't poke at the bad things that he does. I don't rag him about him or anything like that. I always building him up and making him feel good about what he's doing. When he does something and he messes up, I'll be like, you know what? How many times have you done that before? And he'll be like, well, this is my first time. I'm like, okay, then what are you tore up about? Don't worry about it. Whenever I mess something up, I'll be like, look here, see, I do the same thing. And I'll put myself in his place and let him know that I'm doing the same thing. To keep someone, now, they got to have it, but to keep them in happy with it and to keep them motivated about it, you got to keep them feeling good. If you're beating your apprentice down every day because they're messing up one time a day or they're late a couple times a week, they're not going to want to come to work because they're getting beat down all the time. You know what I'm saying? I like Ken Ballin's little saying that he says, we rise by lifting others.
Yes.
You talk good about people and lift them up. Don't beat them down. There's an old saying that you gather more bees with honey than you do vinegar. Bees are workers.
What if we use Treva's secret miracle?
That might clean them up.
Oh. No, I love it. It's really good. Okay, so we can't you can't instill the passion in them. They're gonna have to love doing flooring on their own, and I can agree. I think you can love working with your hands, and you can fall in love with flooring, right? Like I think you can find it and be happy with it, but yes, you're gonna have to love it on your own.
Yeah.
But then to build somebody up is a much better approach. But I know that you and I both come from backgrounds just based on our ages. Like, man, that's not what it was like. Like you got, if you screwed up, you got yelled at and you got told like, you're an idiot. Mm-hmm. That's not how you do it. Da, 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 da. And man, Absolutely. It made it really hard to want to keep going sometimes.
Well, my boss figured me out. The guy that taught me this, when he figured me out really fast, he had a pretty good, let's see, he could discern a person pretty good, I guess. He could see what they was about pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Anytime he told me I couldn't do nothing and I was a stupid, ignorant little blankety blank, drove me to prove him wrong. So he figured that out. And he would call me out in front of customers or anything. And thanks to that, it made me what I am today. It really instilled some good work morals in me. A lot of people that would definitely push away and everything like that, but he knew the way my character was and what I was made up of, and he took advantage of it. So anytime he wanted something out of me, he would tell me I couldn't do it.
Well, that's smart. That's quick learning. And I think there's a key, right? Like everyone, I can't find good help. I can't do this. I can't do that.
Yeah.
What are you doing to actually invest in them? What are you doing to learn about them? You know, I've started having my guy, we started doing, Sunday dinners. So like my dad comes over, my aunt comes over, my brother comes over. I don't have a huge family, but like we sit down and we eat as a family. And I was like, well, look, okay, everyone knows Brad, Team Brad, go Team Brad, # Team Brad.
Sure.
I invited Brad. If you're going to be a part of my company, you're going to be part of the family, right? Okay. Like we need to get to know each other outside of work as well. Am I still your boss? Yeah. Sure. Can we have fun? Yes. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to have some fun. So come over, get to know everybody, hang out. Let's do this thing on a bigger level.
Sure.
And I think little things like that can go a long way for people. You want to keep good help around, then you can't yell at them. You got to pay them fair. These are all things that you're kind of saying. Other than you almost having your nephew put a pole through his chest the other day. I saw that. When he was taking up the carpet.
he loved that because I told truth. I was like, nobody that's ever worked for me has been able to run that thing. So that gave him a boost of energy. You seen him running with it, and he was absolutely wore down and tired at, teasing me because he knows I work a lot of hours, or I did. I'm cutting back now, but I would work till 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, or whatever I had to do to get it done. And he would tease me, you want to pull an all-nighter? I know he didn't want to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he's 2:30. I let him install some carpet tiles that day. I let him install a little bit of vinyl plank that day for the first time. When we left the job at 9 o'clock last night, he was boosted up, ripping, roaring, and ready to go. He was ready to, for real, to pull an all-nighter because he was feeling good about his job. He got to do something that he'd never done before, and he liked it, and he felt good about it. So I could see him wearing down there. He's been with me for a while, so let him do something that he hasn't done before. Let him feel good about it, I'm real picky about letting people do stuff for me because I'm like super picky about my work. But if a person needs it to build up their self-esteem, if they need to feel better about it, I mean, that was a total 180 switch in that guy's attitude just because he started feeling good about what he was doing. So you got to keep them feeling good. You got to keep them happy with it, or else you're just going to get the bare minimum.
It's funny. Okay. So, right. Floor Academy is all about let's learn while we earn. So you should listen to this while you're working. Okay. Cut out the music, get an audiobook, listen to some podcasts. Let's educate yourself. Okay. I need all that stuff. I'm not great at it. Okay. Like I am a horrible manager and I know that. And so I listen to books on like people management.
Yeah.
Once we're going to go full circle. We're going to go back to the beginning. You with a 6th grade education can manage people better than me. You can run a better business than me. I have to work hard at it. Okay. And I have a college degree, right? Like I paid for it. I was able to get D's and they still gave me one, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
There's some people have innate abilities and some do not, but if you're lacking somewhere, you need to go figure it out. And so I think that's something like you're apparently really good with people. You come off, you have that Southern charm, right? Like you just want to have a handshake deal and you're going to be real fair and honest with people. You're not going to swindle them.
Right.
But then you even said like, okay, I've realized that I do more than other people. And I think that it should be valued more.
Right.
But that took an education to get there. So everyone kind of has these things. And have you noticed where your flaws are lately? Is this something that comes with age and now you're like, oh shoot, I need to work on that? Or is that something that you've kind of always had?
As far as this sounds crazy because I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but what like you talking about dealing with helpers or apprentices or what?
Just any of it. Like, is this all recent developments because you've started, look, we're all getting better faster because we have access to groups like Flooring Installers of America,
sure.
Tile Love, Global Tile Posse, Hardwood Floor Masters, like all this stuff. Okay. Right. Like we have a better connection. We have a better team. I feel like I've been put on a fast track because I've only been in the business 5 years and I've been on my own for like 2.5, 3 years now or whatever it is. I feel like my learning path has been accelerated because I have access to so much information so quickly. You've been at it for 19 to 42 is 23 years. Do you see a change in how fast you're learning and what you're after now? Because in the past, like 5 years, you've had better access to stuff.
Well, everything changed for me. You're asking me the question. Okay. So I got to answer it from when I gave my heart to the Lord, I got that mentality, do it as unto the Lord. So that is when I really started striving to do my best at everything I did. And that was the change for me.
Okay.
So, and if a person can't see, like what you said just a while ago, if a person can't see where they are short and where they are lacking in their life, and they really got some issues with themselves, if they don't think they have any problems and they're all perfect, they really need to do some self-seeking or I don't know. They need to do something because we all got shortcomings. We all got failures. And deep down, you know what they are. You just have to acknowledge that you know what they are and try to work on them. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Everybody. If you go out here and you smack this old lady down on the sidewalk and say you're stupid or something like that, you got to be able to know that that's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
A person
yeah.
got in them. They got to know where stuff is wrong and where stuff is right. If they're doing something wrong, you got to be able to acknowledge that to yourself. You know, you can pull the wool over other people's eyes, but deep down, you know yourself that that's wrong and work on it. Admit it to yourself and work on it. Try to do it better.
Hmm. So what are okay? So let's use you as the example, if you don't mind. That's
Sure.
kind of why you're
Go
here,
ahead.
right? Like we get to put
Yeah.
Reuben Potter under the spotlight.
Go ahead.
Where's Reuben lacking? What are you working on that you want to improve?
I have always been, pretty much, like I said, ever since I gave my heart to the Lord, I've always been a people pleaser. I've always wanted to do everything I could, no matter what it took away from me, what it took away from my family, or anything like that. I always just wanted to do my best, whether I had to work all night or not. And I acknowledge that. So that's why I've put my foot down with this store here, and I'm not going to work Mondays no more. And I'm going to start taking off normal hours like everybody else between 4 and 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I am improving. I'm doing my best to improve in the areas that I'm short. Just like I said, a person's got to be able to see and then do something about it. Well, I've had that problem for a long time because there's a balance there. You got to do as unto the Lord, but the Lord would not want me to neglect my family and put everything else on the burner while I
Mm-hmm.
was out doing this for the customer. You know what I'm saying? So there's a balance, and finding a balance sometimes is the hardest thing.
Okay. So let me ask you a tough question then,
Uh-huh.
and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. I think you
Sure.
will. You have grandkids now; they're running around your house.
Right.
And I see that look, I get to watch people online. That's what Facebook does. It lets you stalk people essentially. It shows up in your feed. You see what's going on in people's lives. So
Right.
you actively participate in your grandkids' lives. They're at your house quite often, or they live with you, one of the two.
Right.
Do you
Yeah.
have a better relationship with your grandchildren than you do your own children because you used to work so much?
Well, that's when I was raising our kids, I was into drugs and drinking and stuff like that. So 100%, yeah, I do have a better relationship with my grandkids than I did with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I was a totally different person back then.
And how? I mean, the business has had to have played a role in that, right? Like just being in the industry and trying to make things happen and keep it all afloat. Um, if you could, obviously, if you could go back, you would pay more attention to your kids. I get that.
Sure.
So that's a given. I think people just kind of realize that with time, right? Like that you only get one
Right.
chance with them, and then that day's
Yeah.
gone. Um, what do you want guys and gals that are new and have young kids to know? Like what do they need to know so that they don't make the same mistakes you did?
Find that balance. You know, do everybody right by the standards. Don't, like I said, don't just do what's best for the carpet store, what's best for um, the customers. You got to also put your wife in there. You also got to put your kids in there. Do what's best by them as well. Okay. You should put this is just my opinion, your wife, your kids, and then yourself. Okay. In that order is
Mm-hmm.
your family right there. It's how you should look at your relationship. Excuse me. I got to correct that. It should be God, your wife, and then your kids.
Okay.
But in that order, you should not be number one in your own life. You should have your wife and kids above you, and you should put their wants and needs above your own. That just goes with being a man.
Wise
So,
words, wise words. And look, I'll give insider information here. I am 100% jealous of my two kids, my son and my daughter. My son is 11 now. My daughter
mhm.
is 8.5. They have both spent more time with my father by the time they were 5 than I probably did by the time I was 12.
Right. I
He
know you're
completely
right there.
screwed the pooch. Our relationship's awesome now, but it took
Right.
years and years to get there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's, look, people make mistakes. It's not that you can't make up for it, but
Yeah.
he realized with them that like he gets one shot, and I think that's huge to see that the growth that somebody can have even after being an alcoholic and a screw up. Like,
Yeah.
you can get it together and you can make a difference and you can be a good
And
person, like you had a
that's
problem and it went away. You're not going to fault somebody for like biting their nails, right? Well,
right.
alcoholism's kind of the same way. Drug abuse is the same way. Like, it can be
Yep.
corrected. You just
Yep.
takes a little more to get there.
Yep. Absolutely. Completely agree on that. You can't ever give up on nobody. You gotta also, a lot of people have problems with their help being drug addicts and stuff like that. A lot of people have time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever want to give up on anybody, but at the same time, you got to be wise enough to say, is this person willing to change for this job? And if they're not, you need to go ahead and let them go. Don't suffer yourself for years and years hoping that this guy's going to change. You know, be wise enough to put your family first and let that guy go and get somebody else that's going to be better for you, which is ultimately going to better your home life. Because if you're aggravated all day long at work because you got this guy over there geeked out all day long and you come home aggravated, what's that doing for your home life?
Yeah.
That's neither fair to your wife, your kids, or you, because you're hoping this guy's going to change. So you definitely got to be wise. There's a lot learned. Again, life is the greatest teacher. You don't learn all this stuff when you're 22, 23 years old. You know what I'm saying?
No, you do not.
You got to live it to learn it. And fortunately, this is the age of the internet. So anybody can get on there and learn stuff by looking at their TV or computer or whatever. So,
Well, okay. Okay. So here, great example, right? Okay. You can't learn it when you're 22, right? You have to live it to
right.
learn it.
Yeah.
Except you don't, because you can find mentors that have screwed up. You've screwed up. I've screwed up. Everybody's screwed up. And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, so your nephew's 17, right? Like,
Right.
what life lessons do you talk to him about during the day where he probably just blows it off and it's in one ear and out the other because that's just crazy Uncle Reuben talking about what he used to do, right? Like, how many conversations did you have with adults at 17, 18, 19, 20, 25 that you were like, you don't know what you're talking about? And now
Yeah.
you look back and you're like, damn, I wish I would have listened because it would have helped me out so much.
Yeah. The main thing that I stress to him is to take care of his body, because this is a hard trade and you definitely got to take care of yourself or else you're not going to make it. It's not going to be a long life career if you don't take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets it. He wears a pro knees, stuff like that. He's a good kid and he's got really good parents. Okay. I told him I would work him so long as he wore knee pads all the time. Okay. So he went home the other day, told his mom he forgot to put his knee pads on once today. He didn't even say nothing to me about it. And his mom is like, you disobeyed him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's got good parents. And they want him to listen to me just like I want him to listen to me. So he gets it from both sides. And I can't complain about him, really. He's a good kid. He's not like most people. But, yeah, a person definitely, for the most part, has to learn on their own, because I had people telling me my whole life, well, when I was younger, getting into it, you need to be wearing knee pads. You need to be wearing knee pads and stuff like that. Well, I never did. As a matter of fact, I didn't start wearing knee pads till probably about 6 years ago. So most of my career, I did not. And I wished I had have.
Yeah.
So some things you do have to learn. It don't matter if people's preaching at you every day or not.
Correct. I think it's important though, right? Like I don't know. I think if somebody comes into your life, right, like we need to leave them better than we found them.
Yeah,
Okay?
absolutely.
So if we're gonna have these apprentices come in, whether they stay with us or not, we need to send them back out in the world better educated than when they came to us. And it doesn't matter if that's with business sense, life skills, trade skills, interpersonal skills, whatever it's going to be. We need to leave them better than we found them. And so you've got to actually invest in people. You got to care about them. Look, they're not just there to collect a paycheck, people.
Yeah.
There's so much more than that going on.
Exactly. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
there's so much down talking and everything like that in the world nowadays. People's always pushing other people down to make themselves feel better. If you are that person to build somebody up all the time, even if they don't make it, they're going to leave you thinking and not having nothing bad to say about you. You guys could have a fallout. They're going to be mad at you for a few weeks or whatever like that, but they're going to remember, this guy always talked good about me. He always told me I did a good job. He always give me credit where credit is due and stuff like that. Therefore, you're making that person a better person, because sometime or another, that's going to rub off on them and they're going to start being that to a degree. I ain't saying a full all out conversion of being nice to people, but it's definitely going to have an effect on them, because most people are not like that nowadays.
Yeah. No, I think that's key, right? Like you said, you got to leave them better than you found them. So you need to instill something positive in everybody that you come across. You can't.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
If we're not giving them the skills to be successful, then we're wasting our time and theirs, especially if they're coming in to learn a trade.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I know that not all of us pay top dollar, and I don't think we should have to pay top dollar for an apprentice. Okay. Because like I said, we should be teaching them business skills, life skills, interpersonal skills, the trade skills. You're getting so much more in this, and yet we're still paying you. Now, 200 years ago, you used to go learn a trade, and you didn't get paid. You had to pay them.
Yeah.
You know, or you worked for free. Like, you would work for the blacksmith for years before you were able to go out on your own and be a blacksmith.
Yep. I had this guy working for me for a long time, and trying to motivate him and get him to do better and better and better in his career at his job and stuff like that. You know, he was good when he wanted to be. You know, there was times that he made $1,700-$1,800 a week, and you know, he's super happy. And at the time, I was super happy. And you step back and you take a look at the whole thing now that you're here. You know, looking back, and you say, well, I was robbing myself. You know, I should not have paid that guy that much. He's an apprentice. If he wants to make $1,700-$1,800 a week, he needs to be responsible enough to run his own business and go out and get that money himself. I don't think any apprentice is worth that much money. That's just my opinion. Now, if you're going out and you're making $20,000 a week off of that guy, then yeah. But, you know, there ain't nobody ain't no one person worth that much money in my book, because you're just robbing yourself.
That's going to depend on the numbers and what you're doing and what there's so much behind that, but I get what you're saying. Like there's a level of pay that's associated with responsibility, right? So you can make X amount of dollars and you're kind of here, and you make X amount of dollars and you're kind of here. And that's between you and your person. And you got to figure that stuff out. But for sure, yes, like you can't, if you're overcompensating somebody, then what's the point in moving forward? Like why, you know, if I'm going to make $1,000 a week to sit there and sweep floors and open boxes, and I don't know any contractor that's going to pay me to do that, but I wish I could find it, because I would go back to that like right away.
Right.
You know, you're not going to, there's no incentive to move forward, but you also, not everyone, look, I'm super money motivated, man. I love that check at the end of the tunnel, but that's not everybody's thing. I recently talked to a guy who's not money motivated at all, but now he has 2 employees, and his motivation comes from having to find them work so they can support their families. So like it's, everybody's wired a little bit differently, and you got to find what's going to work for you to get them to perform. And that can be tough. Some people don't have a button who knows?
Yeah, I agree completely.
Man,
they just don't love it.
And that could be a thing too, right? Like you just don't love it. And so what do? Do you let them continue to sit there? Do you cut them loose? You know, depending on the size of company you want to run, I guess you can have both. You're always going to have slackers. You're always going to have passionate people. You're always going to have people somewhere in between.
Yeah. This is just off the top of my head, but I'm thinking the people that actually love the trade and the people that do the trade is a really small percentage. There's probably 5 or 10% of people that are in the trade that actually love it and strive to do the best they can. It's a small number. So you can't keep pushing everybody away because you can't find that one person to love it. I understand that completely. So I don't know where I was going with that. I had slipped my mind
I think
again.
you're right. Look, you can't. Not everyone's going to be passionate about it, but that doesn't mean that they can't do a great job.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
You can be proficient without passion. So you got to find the people that are going to make it happen for you, right? Like that's what we're after.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
But
when you
go ahead,
person passionate about it, keep them by all means.
Oh, try to. Jesus, be nice to them, please.
Yeah.
We need more of them. Stop scaring the young kids away because you yell at them. Stop yelling. They don't like it. Go back and listen to the episode with Dakota Franklin, and what is it? I think I called it Insights from Gen Z. Go listen to him, okay? He talks about what the kids in Gen Z want, and it ain't what Gen Xers and millennials are doing. So we got to get a different system going here.
Yeah, we sure can't take the way we was brought up nowadays, because the people nowadays are a whole lot softer than what it was when we growed up.
Yeah, so, you want to know the problem with that, though? We created them.
Yeah.
We have no one to blame but ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Reuben, amazing conversation. Not at all where I thought it was going. We went in many, many places. But I think it's all kind of along those lines. So thank you for being open and willing to talk about your past, willing to talk about, not a lot of people would want to share that they're not highly educated, and that, there's a stigma. Like if you don't even have a GED these days, like you're an idiot and you're just dumb.
Yeah.
I think you've shown people that there's so much more you can do. Yeah.
A person needs to, now, let me end it with this. I don't want to support ignorance. A person does need to go to high school and get their diploma and stuff like that. But you don't have to go out and be a college graduate and all that kind of stuff to be successful in life, okay? You can definitely do what you want to do with just a little bit of common sense, okay? Greatest lesson is life, and the most important thing you're going to learn in school is math and math and math, okay? That's what you need in life.
Oh, yes. All right. If anybody wants to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Floors by Southern Boys. Well, yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Floors by Southern Boys. You can message me. You can give me a phone call. My phone number's all over the internet. My YouTube channel, leave a comment there, Floors by Southern Boys. Floors by FBSB.store, just all over. You can pretty much type in Floors by Southern Boys on the computer and get all kinds of feedback. So,
awesome. Thank you so much again for joining me. Thank you for spending your evening with me. Happy birthday to your grandson, because that happened today. So, yeah, you were a busy man, and you made time for me, and I appreciate that.
Not a problem, Kyle. My pleasure, buddy.
All right. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye. That's all the time we have for this week. To keep the conversation going, head on over to the Floor Academy Facebook group. Be sure to subscribe so you can hear each and every episode. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and most major podcast directories. Don't forget to leave a review and let us know what you think about the show. If you would like to be a guest, have questions or feedback, you can email us at flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. You can help support the show by becoming a patron over at www.patreon.com/flooracademy. Remember to learn while you earn.